Hey guys, Marijka here, Milton Public Library, back with you today for the last round of science fiction. Today we are starting with the book We're Not From Here. This book is by Geoff Rodkey. So Earth has been completely wiped away because of nuclear warfare, and the only surviving Earthlings boarded a spaceship and flew to Mars. So once they get to Mars and start living there on Mars, they realize that it's really just not that great. The supplies are dwindling. Just life is rather miserable. So one group decides that they're going to go back to Earth and see how that goes. It does not go well. Another group decides that there's a planet close to them that somewhat resembles Earth, and they believe that they can work their way around it and fix it so that it's inhabitable. It is not. The last group of people decide that the only other thing that they can do is try to gain acceptance onto this planet called Choom, which has 4 other different species of creatures on there. After some negotiations with the government says that it is okay for them to come. So they all board their ship and they get into suspension, and they take the 20-year trip to Choom. 20 years goes by, they arrive there, they wake up, only to find that the government situation in Choom is now completely different in these 20 years, and now the government is saying no, they cannot come there because humans are just like too violent and unpredictable. So through some negotiations with the humans saying, well, we don't have enough gas to go anywhere else, we have to go here, we're just stuck here, the government decides to do like a trial period and allow one family to live on Choom in this designated area and see how that works. So this one family is the main character, Lan, and his younger sister and his parents. So really the rest of the human population's survival lays on their shoulders. Whatever imprint they make upon these creatures is going to represent all of humanity. So honestly, what could possibly go wrong? So this is a really great book that is essentially about immigration and trying to fit in when no one else is like you and fighting bias, but it's done in this really fun science fiction way. So this book is We're Not From Here, and it is by Geoff Rodkey. The next book I have for you, I actually kind of thought was fantasy, but when I looked it up, it could be considered both, and so I said win, and I'm going for it. I have 2 books that I actually thought were fantasy, but turned out could be science fiction. So this one is Tristan Strong, Punches a Hole in the Sky, and this is by Kwame Mballia. I'm so sorry. So Tristan is a 7th grader in Chicago, and he is struggling a bit after the death of his friend in a bus accident. And he's having a really hard time with his emotions and feeling like people understand him, which is 100% okay feeling when you're going through something like this. But his parents don't really know how to help him, and so they feel that if maybe he went and just spent like a month at his grandparents in Alabama, that just getting him away from the situation would really help his emotions. So from day one, when he arrives in Alabama, weird stuff starts happening, including this really creepy doll that steals his best friend's diary, and it's the only thing that he has left of his friend, and runs away. So Tristan follows the little creepy doll into this even creepier forest by this like bottle tree, and he finds the little doll and they're like wrestling to get the diary back, and Tristan accidentally punches the bottle tree, and it like sets off this really crazy reaction, opening the sky and transporting them to this really magical, mystical realm that's filled with like just tons of West African mythological characters. So Tristan, in this world, Tristan not only has this need to find his friend's diary, which now has also been sucked in and they don't know where it is, and that leads them to all of these different characters, and they go on tons of adventures. So he has to find this diary, but then he also has to figure out how to get home. So this is Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky, and it's by Kwame Mballia. The next book I have for you is called A Wrinkle in Time. This is a very old book. Maybe you have seen the movies. This is by Madeleine. So this is a book about Meg and her family. So Meg lives with her scientist mother and her younger siblings and their father, who is away on this secret mission. So one day she meets her new, rather eccentric neighbor, Miss Whatsit. And during this conversation, Miss Whatsit starts talking about some things that Meg realizes is something that her father was actually working on. And maybe he isn't actually away on a secret mission, but has been taken away. So with the help of her brother and a friend, and along with Miss Whatsit and her two friends, Miss Who and Miss Witch, they go on this, set off on this adventure into this third dimensional realm to find Meg's father, where he might be, and who mayhaps have taken him. So the travel to this other dimension isn't easy, but the adventure is very real. So this is A Wrinkle in Time, and it is by Madeleine. Next book that I have for you is another one that I thought was actually fantasy, but when I looked it up, it is sci-fi fantasy. That counts, right? So this book is called Shuri, and this book is by Nic Stone. So Shuri is the little sister to the Black Panther. So she is a self-described science and tech nerd, and she is always coming up with new inventions and new updates for their gear. Soon, Shuri discovers that the heart-shaped herb that is essential for the survival of Wakanda and for the Black Panther's powers is rapidly dying, and she has no idea why. So she and her friend set off to figure out why this herb is dying before someone tries to challenge the T'Challa's title. So this book is a great mix of the character from the movie, so the Shuri character from the movie, and then Nic Stone just brilliantly adds in his own interpretations of the character. So this is Shuri, and this is by Nic Stone. That was my last week of science fiction. I hoped one of those books interested you. And next week I will be back with informative or informational style books. So that'll be interesting. So we'll see you then. Bye.